what you want is to be upright and relaxed. But what it takes is a well-positioned pelvis. Pelvis is like the foundation of the structure. It's your base. And if it is tucked, that's going to cause problems up higher, one way or another. And so the truth of the matter is that it is neither trivial nor super difficult to change your structure. And what the shape and the depth of it, in my experience, takes about 6 lessons for me to help someone to transform their body, and with it, their lives. I mean, we place our bar very, very high with our course. I mean, if someone doesn't feel like their life has been transformed, then we are looking for how we could have, taught better. But we're quite spoiled. We get a lot of people using that kind of language. So that's, the possibility for change is huge, but it does take some training, and it takes step-by-step approach and the right guidelines, because many of the current guidelines are problematic. They do more harm than good, like you were indicating, I wish I weren't turning things on their head. And by the way, that's exactly the same line that Joan Baez used. She gives us a quote to use publicly that says, this method turns everything we've thought about posture on its head.
Well, and she's right.
It's true.
She's right.
It is very different. I'm not saying I say don't tuck the pelvis. I say tuck the ribs. I say not S-shaped curve, but J-spine. Not chin up and chest out. Rather, chin is going to angle down, and the chest is also going to kind of angle. It's going to come down in the front so that the back can lengthen, and so on. There are a lot of, I say, don't do crunches, because those are well named. They crunch your discs and they crunch your nerves, and you don't really want to put your discs under that kind of pressure, and it's not necessary. They're much better abdominal exercises that I describe in my book, I describe in my DVD, and the best of all is, of course, to get hands-on guidance, and now the course is available widely all over the world. But if you'd like me to describe any of those techniques, I'm very happy to on this call.
If there's something in particular you'd like to describe, that's fine. There's so much to talk to you about, but if there's something you want to describe right now, you're most welcome.
Oh, let me do a very quick little thing, because it's so easy and it does so much change for people, and I call this a shoulder roll. And so you take one shoulder at a time, and you go a little forward, a little up, and then don't involve your torso, but take just the arm and the shoulder back, and relax and settle it into its new home, which is actually an old home where you used to be when you were 2. You do the same with the other shoulder. You go a little forward, a little up, a lot back, and you completely relax, and you have just ratcheted the soft tissue of your shoulder back a notch, is how it feels. And the cool thing about resetting your shoulders this way is that it's sustainable. It's not taking some muscle tension to hold it in place, because A, that's not practical, B, it's not healthy. And instead, you're just resetting them where they belong, or closer to where they belong, and now you relax, and they will stay there. It's very practical, it's very healthy, and it's much better than pulling your shoulders back or sitting up straight. That's a direction we hear a lot in our culture. Sit up straight, stand up straight. And I say no, sit up smart. Don't tense up your low back and thrust out your chest to give the appearance of being straight. That's not the way to do it. And if your shoulder slumping is bothering you, then just take your shoulder, a little forward, a little up, lots back, relax. It's going to feel a bit odd, because you suddenly feel like you have little bitty Tyrannosaurus Rex arms. But you get used to it, and it doesn't look odd. It looks very nice and allows you to breathe better, allows your circulation to and from your arms to be better, stops pulling you into an increasingly hunched upper back shape, and so on. So that's a really simple one that everyone can just start doing, and now you come a little closer to your keyboard, and you come a little closer into your steering wheel, though you do want to keep a safe distance from the airbag. What you don't want is to just slump your shoulders forward to be reaching everything, like your keyboard and so on.
I'm so glad you're making a chair, because I have two $300 chairs that are terrible. I have terrible pain in them, and now I'm sitting on a bench with a pillow underneath me because I've been in so much pain with these chairs.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Well, one thing I teach you can usually modify a chair easily. We have a stretch sit cushion. It's our only product so far. I pride myself on being product light in my approach. Mostly I teach people how to master their own structure. But there's room for, if you're going to sit all day, you want a comfortable chair. So I am creating a chair. It'll probably be a couple more months. But we also have a stretch sit cushion. And if you put that in any chair, it facilitates this stretching your back out. And that, by the way, I have a teleseminar. If people go to my website, egwellness.com, then you can sign up for the free teleseminar. And in that, we teach you how to, it has video and so on, and teach you how to stretch sit and do a shoulder roll and so on. And that is really a good way to approach sitting all day.
Why did you spend so much time in your book on sleeping? When you think about it, it seems as if there's not a lot we can do with how we sleep, and yet you spent a good amount of time on sleeping. And I want you to talk about it because that's something we do at least 6 to 8 hours a day.
Yeah, and that's why. It's just a low-hanging fruit, as to how I see it. You're lying there on a bed. Now, why don't we put a little extra traction, a little stretch in your back, whether you're lying on your back or you're lying on your side, and right there you've got the potential benefit of 8 hours of stretching your back. It's hard to get any kind of therapy that is going to match that, people have machines and expensive procedures to put traction in their back, but here you have the possibility of getting 8 hours of stretch just for the extra 1 or 2 seconds of effort of positioning yourself well and stretched out at the beginning of the night. So this is one of the easier techniques to learn. People get that from the book. And what's involved is you kind of prop your upper body onto your elbows, you dig into the bed and down towards your feet, and then you put one vertebra down at a time, next one. You're kind of unrolling your back onto the bed, if you can visualize that. And that's the technique for stretch lying on the back. And then stretch lying on the side is a little trickier because we also use it not only to stretch the back, but also to learn this J-spine shape, because, you can set your pelvis just so, and then set your upper back just so, and now the bed serves as a kind of traction, stretch unit. It's keeping you in that stretched out, good shape and creating muscle memory so that it becomes easier to find that shape when you're standing, when you're walking and such. Just a huge amount of benefit available, for a very little effort. Lots of bang for the buck there. It's a pity not to use that sleeping time to stretch you out and make you feel more comfortable in your life in general.
There's going to be people listening that are going to say, look, I move all over the bed. I sleep on my side. Talk about sleeping on our side and pillows and what you're recommending, even though people are going to get the inner workings and the details in your book.
Yeah. So on the side is a little complex in terms of pillows, because just for beginners, when people are first starting out, sometimes their backs are a little inflamed. There's not that much height in the back, length in the back. Everything is squished in there. So it's helpful to make it closer to neutral, which means a pillow between the knees to the ankles, long ways. And may mean a pillow in front of you to not let your shoulders slump forward. May mean a pillow under your waist if you're a woman and you have a narrow waist and wider hips and you don't want your back to sag. Now, as your back heals and you become less inflamed and not in pain, then your body will easily tolerate. As it becomes nice and long, it will easily tolerate a little twist, a little sag, no problem.